love and to be loved. Okay. The heart weighs 85 grams, heavier than normal at his age. The apex was formed by the left ventricle with spherical shape, and the right and left ventricular chambers were slightly dilated. The right and left ventricular walls were likewise hypertrophied, and there were no vegetations within the valves. There were no congenital defects. The coronary vessels were normal. And the pericardial cavity contains 25 ml of yellow serous fluid. So this was the heart. Obviously, there was cardiomegaly. And I noticed from your diagnosis, and even differential diagnosis, nobody entertained a very, very heart disease, secondary to thiamine deficiency. But I did not say that that is our diagnosis. So, cut section of the heart will show you a myocardial hypertrophy as well as the ventricular dilatation, but the hypertrophy is more of the right, measuring about 1.5 centimeter in thickness. At this age, the right ventricle should be at least 0.3 or 3 millimeter. But both right and left are hypertrophied. So microscopic examination of the heart will show you the presence of interstitial infiltration of lymphocytes. Those round cells are your lymphocytes. And in some areas, there is an evidence of hypertrophy of the cardiac muscles characterized by the enlargement of these nuclei. And adjacent to the inflammatory cells or inflammatory reaction, there is also focal necrosis of cardiac muscles, which is also characterized by the absence of nuclei. Here it's already fading, and absence of the striations in cardiac muscles. For the lungs and pleura, the right and left lung weights are within normal. The cut sections exude minimal frothy blood-tinged fluid. The right and left thoracic cavities contain 35 ml of serosanguinous fluid. That is the right lung, showing the 3 lobes, which is slightly buggy. The left lung likewise was slightly buggy. Now, histologic examination of the lungs reveals intra-alveolar accumulation of precipitates. And for the first years, we just had our correlates last Friday. What would be your diagnosis basing on these slides? Very good. Very good students comes with very good faculty. So that is pulmonary edema. Look mo, no? So a closer view of the physiologic examination of the lungs will show you this cell with brown cytoplasm. That is actually a hemosiderin-laden macrophage, or otherwise known as heart failure cells. And the presence of heart failure cells in pulmonary edema denotes a previous episode of pulmonary edema. For the liver and abdominal cavity, the liver weight was normal. It was soft and firm with smooth and glistening capsule. Again, the peritoneal cavity contains 50 ml of yellow-brown serosanguinous fluid. If you notice, from the heart, pleura, and abdominal cavity, there was effusion. And this was secondary to the right and left-sided heart failure. And there is increased hydrostatic pressure, and all of that. And the type of effusion is transudate. So that was the liver. However, cut section of the liver will show you a pale surface. It was not enlarged. However, histologic examination of the liver, no? At the periphery will show you the pattern cords of liver cells, but at the center, you will notice that there is already necrosis. Another section will reveal a degenerated, characterized by the shrinking of the hepatocytes at the center, and dropped out liver cells. The presence of this, by the way, this is centrilobular necrosis of the liver. The presence of centrilobular necrosis of the liver result from a severe central hypoxia due to both the right-sided and left-sided heart failure. The spleen is slightly enlarged. If you notice, it is congested. It weighs 58 grams, comparing to a normal of about 38 to 46 grams. So in other words, there is congestion of the spleen. The kidneys, first years, were unremarkable. First years yung nephro, no? Cut section shows well-delineated cortex and medulla, and the pelvocalyces were neither blunted nor dilated. For the gastrointestinal tract, it was also unremarkable. That is the esophagus, stomach, and then the small bowel, then large bowel. There were no ulcers, no erosions, no mass. And so, for the verdict of this case, no? Only 1 year level got it right. So, diagnosis. Clinical diagnosis of congestive heart failure with interstitial myocarditis, probably viral etiology, cardiomegaly, pericardial effusion, pulmonary edema mild, pleural effusion bilateral, centrilobular necrosis, congestion of the spleen, ascites, and anemia, probably iron deficiency due to the hypochromic and anisocytosis, with also moderately stunted growth. And the cause of death was congestive heart failure, secondary to myocarditis. So there are several causes of myocarditis: infection, immune-mediated, or unknown. But as what Alvi has mentioned, viruses are the most common cause of myocarditis, and Coxsackie virus B infection is the most commonly recognized cause in infants and children. However, serologic studies and identification of viral DNA or RNA sequences in the myocardium by polymerase chain reaction may identify the culprit. And during the active phase, the heart may be normal, dilated, or hypertrophied, and they have a clinical, and the clinical spectrum is broad. To some patients who are symptomatic, they recover completely without sequelae. And to others, years later, it will progress clinically to dilated cardiomyopathy. And in some, there is onset of heart failure or arrhythmias, and occasionally sudden death may occur. Although you have considered dilated cardiomyopathy, well, it is just a differential, because in dilated cardiomyopathy, myocarditis is also a cause of dilated cardiomyopathy. But in dilated cardiomyopathy, it is a chronic process, in contrast to this case, which present with acute manifestation. And before I end, I would like to share this to everybody. I have shared this to the higher years and for the benefit of the first years and to my colleagues. This is my favorite. The best and the most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen nor touched, but are felt in the heart. Thank you.
Thank you so